The day of Tom Horton's first encounter with the creature he was looking for was misty and overcast, with not a breath of wind. The sea off the west of Scotland was oil-slick calm, moved only by a slight swell from far out in the Atlantic. Tom had motored out 40 miles to the remote islands of St Kilda from the village of Leverburgh on the Isle of Harris, on Angus Campbell's catamaran, the Orca 3. It was September 2014, and they were on a mission to find and tag a bluefin tuna, a year after Angus had first spotted the shoals, prepared a squid lure, and caught one weighing 515 pounds, a Scottish record. Bluefin had not been seen in any numbers in this part of the northeast Atlantic for decades. Angus was the first to spot them and work out how to catch one. Marine Scotland, part of the Scottish government, then decided to record what was happening and recruited Tom as a volunteer. The day had already been memorable for wildlife spotting. As Tom and Angus started out, they saw a pod of around 200 dolphins far off. Then, on the journey between the Isle of Harris and St Kilda, a juvenile male minke whale circled their boat. They also sighted a sei whale as it rolled in the distance and a leatherback turtle lazing at the surface close by. As Tom said, it was a day when you felt something big was about to happen. They were motoring back towards Harris, around 2 o'clock, out of sight of land, when Angus said, "This is what we are looking for." Coming into view was a maelstrom of bird activity. Gannets mostly, but also bonxies, great skuas, sooty shearwaters, manx shearwaters, and storm petrels milling around. The gannets were diving into shoals of fish while the shearwaters darted between picking scraps off the surface. The bonxies were being their usual nuisance to the other birds. The water was so clear that you could see the birds swimming below the surface. The sea was glistening with slowly sinking silvery scales from the baitfish that had been forced to the surface by predators beneath, only to be picked off by the birds. Tom spotted numerous minke whales foraging on the shoals of baitfish. Angus was certain there were bluefin present. Tom thought he was mistaken. Then, out of nowhere, a shoal popped up right in front of the boat. At first, there were welts in the water and dorsal fins visible above the silvery surface. Then 2 large tuna surfaced 5 meters in front of the boat and dived back down underneath it, close enough for Tom to get 4 pictures that proved, without doubt, what they were seeing was bluefin. It all happened so quickly. The gannets were calling, the sooty shearwaters were whooshing, then the boat was through the feeding frenzy and the fish had moved on. Tom and Angus were privileged to gain a glimpse of the part predators play in a fully functioning ecosystem, a sight unfamiliar until the wild and dynamic element of a bluefin shoal returned to northern seas. The tuna rounded up their prey of small fish, probably whitebait or herring fry, into tight shoals or balls and pushed these up to the surface. This provided a feeding bonanza for birds that cannot dive for fish, such as the petrels and the skuas, which just steal prey from others. The petrels and skuas are rare now, rarer than when there were more large predators in the ocean, and so it is true to say that the bluefin are breathing life back into the whole system. In a real but unquantifiable way, they have rewilded it. 7 years later, and Tom has logged over 2,000 sightings of bluefin shoals in UK and Irish waters, in the Hebrides, in the Celtic Sea, and off Falmouth. He's based at Exeter University's campus at Falmouth in Cornwall, and the paper of which he is the lead author records with authority that Atlantic bluefin tuna returned to the English Channel from 2014 onwards, seasonably between August and December, after a prolonged absence. The Atlantic migrants had not been seen in UK waters since shoals of giant tunny fish, as they were then called, preyed on herring in the North Sea off Scarborough in the 1920s and 1930s. These giant fish of 800 pounds or more were pursued by big game fishermen from high society and film stars such as John Wayne, Errol Flynn, and David Niven. The huge North Sea herring shoals that lured them there have since gone, but there is plenty of sardine and anchovy in the warming waters of the English Channel, and right out to the edge of the continental shelf to attract the foraging tuna. Now there are days in the Channel and the Celtic Sea, says Tom, where everywhere you look there's a bluefin. The giants have returned.